It may sound like blasphemy coming from a real estate agent to say there are good reasons not to own a home, but today we're talking about my top 10 reasons not to own a home. Hi, my name is Katie Thomas, and I'm a real estate agent with Clayton Nash Real Estate, serving the Phoenix metro area. If this is your first time on my channel, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I drop new information every week all about all things real estate, East Valley, Phoenix living, and I would love to have you join us. As a CPA and a real estate agent, I am usually one to recommend home ownership. There are a ton of benefits, and I'll link the video up there when I actually get it published. But for today, we're not talking about why to own a home. We're actually going to talk about why not to own a home. And you may think, oh great, here comes the stupid reasons. But no, in all honesty, as a real estate agent, I have an obligation to my clients to do what's best for them. Sure, I would love to sell a home and make a commission off of that, but sometimes that's not the right move. There would be little worse in my book than me doing a disservice to a client by selling them a house when it's not the right move for them. Not only that, but it wouldn't be good for business because they wouldn't refer me, their friends wouldn't use me, and it just is bad karma. So what are the reasons that you wouldn't want to own a home? Here are the top 10. Number 1, you're new to an area and you don't know exactly where you want to live. So let's take Phoenix, for example. Phoenix is a huge metropolitan area. And while yes, you may know where your job is, and sometimes you don't know exactly where you want to live. You know, I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm working in Scottsdale, so I probably need to live there. You may not be able to afford there. You may not like it there. Or they come out and they want to live out here in the East Valley. They say, oh, I don't know where I want to live. I want to live in Chandler or Mesa, or they don't even have a clue sometimes, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just because you know where your job is located doesn't mean you know where you want to live in relations to your job. What does your commute actually look and feel like? Some people think they understand what commuting into downtown Phoenix from the way East Gilbert is, but then they drive it and they're like, yeah, no, that's awful. That's no thank you, not interested. So them buying a house out in East Gilbert or East Mesa and having to commute into downtown Phoenix may not be for them. But I also have friends that live out there and love it, and they would never live anywhere else, and they're totally fine with the commute. So if you're in that situation, you may want to consider renting for a little bit. Obviously, if it's a short-term rental, less than 1 year in length, you probably are going to pay a premium. But better to pay a premium and find the house of your dreams in the spot that you want to be than spend all that money on a house and then have to sell it a year later. Number 2, you're only going to live in an area for a short time. What's short? Well, that kind of depends on you, but generally speaking, if you're going to live in your house for less than 2 or 3 years, you're probably going to be hard-pressed to get all of your money back that you spent on buying the house, plus then the cost of selling the house. Not to say that if you're only going to be somewhere for 3 years that you don't want to buy, but it's something to consider and something that you should talk to your real estate agent about before you actually make those decisions. Number 3, your financial situation could change drastically. Yes, I know this could happen to anybody at any given time, and if we all focused on this, no one would ever buy a house. But there are times when your financial situation is in flux. You're getting a divorce, you're getting married, you're changing industries for work, you have some health concerns, you or your significant other are considering some big life changes, career changes, going back to school. In these situations, it's not that you don't want to own a home, it's that owning a home might not be the best financial decision for you. So something to consider. Number 4, you like renting. You don't want to own a home. You don't want to deal with any of the hassles of home ownership. You don't want to change the lights when they go out. If the toilet gets backed up, you don't want to have to call the plumber. You want to call your landlord and let them take care of it. Nothing wrong with this at all. And plenty of people live like this their entire lives. And you know what? That's cool because home ownership is not for the faint of heart. Number 5, renting may actually be cheaper. I know that it's blasphemy in this day and age with such low interest rates to say that someone's monthly rent might be lower than their monthly mortgage payments, but in a lot of cases, it's actually true. And even if it's not, it may be comparable and there may be other factors to look at. So renting may be cheaper. Number 6, you travel a lot for your job, so you're not home a lot. It's not that if you travel a lot for work that you can't own a home. By all means, I know plenty of people who do and they're only home on the weekends. But there are a lot of people who travel that don't want the hassle of home maintenance, or they don't want to have to worry about looking after it while they're gone. They just want a place where they can come home, check out, and be totally off the clock when they're not traveling. And oftentimes home ownership means you have to come home and do the landscaping. You have to worry about maintenance. You have to worry about any problems. If you are renting, that's usually taken care of by somebody else. Number 7, your credit score makes you cringe. Yes, there are plenty of assistance programs out there, but if your credit score is below a 640, buying a home right now may not be the best option for you, even using some of these programs. Oftentimes they come with higher interest rates, higher fees, and one way or the other, they're going to protect themselves, and that often costs you as a home buyer. You'd probably benefit from spending some time renting and working on repairing your credit score to get it way up above that 640, so you don't have to use all of these special programs and can qualify for a much lower interest rate with less fees and just an all-around better experience. Number 8, you have very little money for a down payment and you have no savings. Sure, there are tons of down payment assistance programs to help if you don't have a large collection of cash hanging out on your bank account. But let's not forget the often overlooked costs of buying and owning a home. Even if you can get the seller to help with those pesky closing costs, see more here. What are you going to do if your toilet overflows and you have to call a plumber? Oftentimes, these little insignificant things can be the difference between making your mortgage payment at one month and not being able to the next. And you don't want to have to live like that. So spend some time renting and saving up a nest egg so not only can you afford to buy the house, but you can afford the ongoing maintenance of owning a home. Number 9, I hear this one all the time because so-and-so said I should buy a house, because everybody tells me it's a great investment, because all the financial gurus say that I should. Bye, Felicia. As much as home ownership is a hallmark achievement in many people's financial lives, it's not for everybody. And even if it's on your list, it doesn't mean that you have to do it right now. Those people, your mom included, aren't living your life, so don't let them dictate your decisions. Number 10, home prices don't always go up. Lots of people will tell you that owning a home is a great investment, and in many ways it is, but it's not a guaranteed return on your investment. And there's a lot of other factors that go into it. So if the only reason you're buying a primary residence is because you want to invest, that may not be the smartest decision for you. If you listen to Grant Cardone, he would tell you you'd do better to rent your primary residence and then buy investment properties, so at least you are getting a return on investment. Or like Gary Vee said this week, if you're looking to start or grow your business, spending that money on a down payment and locking it into your home may not be the best investment. You might be better served taking that money and growing your business and renting for a while your business gets up and running until you have a steady cash flow. There have been a lot of economists that have done a lot of studies about housing as an investment form. And for the most part, they say over a long period of time, by time you factor in inflation, housing prices have remained relatively static, thus making your return on investment pretty much flat. So take that for what it is. As I said at the beginning of the video, there are plenty of reasons for owning a home, and we'll talk about those in another video. But in all honesty, it isn't for everyone. If you know people that walk around saying everybody should own a home, they're either ignorant or they're narrow-minded. There are a lot of professionals in this industry that go around touting home ownership is the best investment. Everyone should own a home. They shouldn't. As we just talked about, there are 10 really good reasons, and there's probably more than just these 10. At the end of the day, a good real estate agent is going to sit down with you and talk about your specific situation and what makes sense for you, both in the short term and in the long term. A lot of people want to look in the here and the now, but they're not looking out 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And sometimes you start looking at 20 years, this decision here doesn't set you up for that success. So I would strongly recommend taking some time to really evaluate why you're wanting to buy a house and if you're ready to make that kind of a commitment. Like I said, homeownership is not for the faint of heart. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed this video or found anything of use, would you please be sure to hit that like button down below and also drop me a comment about what your favorite reason not to own a home would be. For it. I don't know.